Hey guys, it's Dustin. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with me. Sorry it's been a little bit since I've gotten a video out. It's been pretty busy, hectic at work and all that jazz. Today we have another match between my good friend Ben and I during GOAT format. He's playing standard GOAT control and I'm playing a DMoC turbo reasoning monster gate dot deck, whatever you want to call it. I rolled a 7. And Ben rolls a 10, so he's going to opt to go first. Let's do this. Shoutouts to my other friend Ben, not the same Ben that I'm playing in this match, but he's the one that hooked me up with this sweet Exodia playmat. It's based on the old UDE regional playmats with Exodia imposed onto it. I love using it during old format matches. It just seems appropriate. So Ben is going to start off with a set to each zone and pass back to me. Double reasoning is always nice to see. So I activate reasoning and he asks me what Sacred Crane's level is and I tell him it's 4, and so he declares 4. And of course. So I activate another reasoning, and he declares 8 this time. And we hit the other Sacred Crane. And Sacred Crane, when it's special summoned, I get to draw a card. I already had a Monster Gate in my hand, but it was nice to rip another one. So I Monster Gate and Jinzo off the top. Then I activate Premature Burial to target the Sacred Crane in my graveyard, get to draw a card, and Monster Gate that away. And we hit Rare Metal Dragon. Rare Metal Dragon is a card that, since this, I have taken it out. It's a 2400 monster that can't be normal summoned or set, but it's a nice big body, dark monster, odd level, you know. Like, I don't hate the card in this deck, but I wanted to try something else. I don't even remember what it was at this point, but... checking my graveyard, see if I want to do anything. Tribute the rare metal for Air Knight Parshath. Air Knight attacks into the Warrior Lady for 300 damage, and I draw a card. And then Jinzo is going to sink in for 2400. Then in the main phase 2, I'll set 2 to the back row and pass back to Ben. He draws. Takes a second. Decides to go with Heavy Storm. And I believe I have Call the Haunted and Book of Moon set. Oh, enemy controller, not Book of Moon. That's right. Then he summons Tribe, discards no one cross out, declare Machine. Sets 2 and hits in for 16. I top deck DMoC. Hate to see it. I activate Dimension Fusion, paying 2,000 life points so I can get back Air Knight and he gets back his DD Warrior Lady. About the only thing I can do. I attack the Tribe. Surprised I got in. Set Scapegoat. And in the end phase he uses Typhoon to hit the Scapegoat. He has Call for Tribe, gets rid of fairies, hits me for 31, and I top deck Metamorphosis. Alright, so that's the end of the first game. We're going to go on to game 2. I was kind of disappointed to lose that game for how good my opening hand was. But it happens. This hand's pretty good too. It's got Pot of Greed and Reasoning in it. Really wasn't sure which one I wanted to activate first, but I decided to go with Pot of Greed. Then I activate Reasoning, and he declares 4. And we end up hitting the Sacred Crane. So I just ended up setting 2 and passing back to Ben. Ben summons Breaker, removes the counter, target my Scapegoat, and I chain it. And he ends up attacking 1. And then he ends his turn. Not a very exciting turn. I take a second to think about what I want to do here. But I end up using Metamorphosis to tribute a goat, to bring out Thousand Eyes, take the Breaker, and tribute it for Air Knight Parshath. Attack in for 1900 and draw a card. Then in main phase 2, set another card to the back row and pass. Ben activates Snatch Steal, and I think about it for a second, but I have a feeling I know he's just going to try to attack the goat, so I let him have it because I have Regeki Break set. And he does attack the goat, and of course I discard Lightning Vortex to destroy the Snatch Steal, and he doesn't have anything to respond to it, so I get my Air Knight back. This made sure he committed to the battle phase, so he really couldn't do anything else for the turn. So after thinking for a second, he sets a monster and passes back. And I remember thinking right here that I was going to banish a Light and Dark for Chaos Sorcerer because I Dimension Fusion my hand, but then I have goats that are taking up space. I almost screwed that up. So instead I just attack with Air Knight, and it's a DD Warrior Lady again, just like the first game. 300 damage, and I draw a card. Oh, and I drew Rare Metal Dragon. That is not a card you want to see in your hand. I pass back to Ben. Ben normal summons Sangan. And attacks a goat and passes back. And here I banish Sacred Crane and Chaos Sorcerer to summon Chaos Sorcerer. And activate Dimension Fusion, so he gets back his DD Warrior Lady, and I get back my Sacred Crane and my Air Knight. Sacred Crane lets me draw a card. And it takes me a little bit of time to figure out how I want to go about the next play. Then I go ahead and activate Chaos Sorcerer's effect, and I decide to go with the Sangan and use Metamorphosis to turn it into something that can attack, and I don't care to get banished to Dark Flare Knight. Could have been any level 6 fusion, that's okay. Attack with Air Knight and attack with Sacred Crane to draw a card with Air Knight. And then I decide if I want to do anything else, but I don't. I end up passing back. Ben drew for turn, and he takes a little bit to think about his next play as well. And he ends up activating Premature Burial to get back Breaker. And Tribute for Air Knight Parshath. After he tries to attack, I don't even remember if it was the Goat or the Sacred Crane, but I book a Moon anyway. And then he sets a card and passes. After thinking a bit, I want to go for game. So I activate Giant Trunade, and he chains Scapegoat. Alright, I know what you're thinking. Why did he activate Scapegoat when he's at 1500 and I have an Air Knight on the field? Well, it comes down to the fact that we screwed up life points somewhere when we were actually playing. This play right here, where I attacked with the Air Knight and the Sacred Crane, I forgot to take off the 19, I think, and it looks like he took off the 19 and the 16, but then I corrected him and I said, hey, you're at 42 and I'm at this, whatever. And you can see his calculator right here was at 23 before I corrected him. So we screwed up life points, and it's actually my fault. If I would have caught this earlier when it actually happened during the editing, I would have put all of this information in that spot. But now it's later in the game than it should be. But I'm not going to go back and edit that. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So that's, yeah. I'm going to put the life points to what we had them in when we were playing instead of the correct life points, so that it makes sense when I attack a goat and it doesn't kill him. It should have, but it is what it is. So back to the video. So now that we know that when we were playing, we had his life points at 3,400 instead of at 1,500. I attack the face down with Sacred Crane, and Air Knight attacks a goat for 19, putting him at 15 when he really should have been dead. But at the time, we didn't catch this, so anyway. So for all intents and purposes, he's at 1,500. Main phase 2, I end up setting a couple back rows and passing. Top deck's Metamorphosis to tribute a goat to get Thousand Eyes Restrict, and targets my Air Knight Parshath. I let him have it, and he goes to attack, and I use Book of Moon on the Thousand Eyes, and he sets a card. Passes back. I activate Premature Burial, targeting Air Knight Parshath. And I go ahead and attack the face down with Air Knight Parshath. It was actually Ring of Destruction that he had set down, so it didn't matter what he did at that point. He didn't show on camera, but he told me. So I end up winning game 2, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the last game. So game 3, Ben's going to go first. And holy crap, can you see what's in my hand? Ben sets a back row and passes. I activate Graceful Charity. Then I discard Sacred Crane and Dark Magician of Chaos. Activate Mystical Space Typhoon on his face down, which is just a Book of Moon. I banish the 2 monsters for BLS. Use Dimension Fusion for Sacred Crane and Dark Magician of Chaos, which allows me to get back Graceful Charity and draw a card off Sacred Crane. And I activate Graceful Charity again And yes, I drew a monster that I could normal summon. And I don't know what took me so long to do the math. I was just making sure. So this definitely shouldn't have taken me this long to discard 2 cards with Graceful Charity, so I apologize. But I ended up discarding Brain Control and Nobleman, normal summoning Sacred Crane, and straight up just winning the game on the first turn. That hand was absolutely bananas. I felt kind of bad for ending the match like that. But that is what this deck can do. It's very crazy. So I ended up taking the match 2-1. Look at that. I had Metamorphosis, Snatch Shield, Trunade, and another Dimension Fusion. That's just stupid. Thanks for the match, Ben. I appreciate you putting up with my sackiness. And thanks, guys, for watching, and we will see you in the next video.